Now loading this month's Leadership Live, where we dive in deep with today's top MedTech leaders, allowing you the chance to learn from the best. Leadership Live starts now.
Good afternoon, good morning, FloodGate family. Welcome to another edition of Leadership Live. And today, I am absolutely ecstatic to have David Soler with HealthTronics, the Vice President of Business Development. Thank you so much for joining us on Leadership Live.
Thank you, Macalon. Thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, David, I've had the opportunity to get to know you a little bit, but a lot of people on this listening to this podcast has not. So, give us a little insight about you, your background, and of course, the great things you're doing at HealthTronics.
Well, thank you very much again for the invite. People hear David, and what is that? Is that David or David? So yes, It's both. But I was born in Puerto Rico, and all my life I heard David. So 7 or 8 years ago, I moved to Texas on a relocation, and people started calling me David because my friends called me David. Plus, there were a lot of Davids in the U.S. So I differentiate myself a little bit. But born and raised in Puerto Rico, started my career in pharmaceutical industry with Pfizer, products like Viagra, Citromax, door openers in the industry. Many of my career in the urology space. I always wanted to be in medical industry or sales and marketing. So I got the best of both.
Yeah.
In 2011, I joined Boston Scientific as a territory manager in Puerto Rico, and escalated in growth and leadership opportunities with regional manager position, business unit, and key contributor in different countries as well. I helped develop the Colombia market in the urology space, Costa Rica, the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. So great experience with different countries until in 2011, I relocated to the US in Texas as a regional manager with Boston Scientific and then director of sales. And great experience. And in 2023, I joined HealthTronics as VP of Marketing and Sales.
Awesome. That's great. And you guys are providing some really unique solutions to the urology market, not just product, but in solutions to run a better business. So it's pretty interesting what you guys are doing there.
No, thank you. And yes, it's a complete solution. Kidney stone management, again, urology space for many years. And the company was established in 1989, very tenured company, but continues to innovate in new solutions every year.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, I'm going to ask David some questions here, but as always, if you have a question or a comment, put it below. We're going to pull some of those up at the end of this conversation, give you a chance to pick David's brain as well. Now, one of the questions I have for you, you've been, from Pfizer, great training, and Boston Sci and all those experience. What have you found is the key attributes to make really a good leader in this medical device space?
I think listening is important. I believe you have heard that answer before from many people that you have interviewed, but it's not only listening to the people in your team, listening to internal key stakeholders, to the patients, to the physicians, to the customers out there, to your peers in the industry. Sometimes we as salespeople or leaders, we tend to talk a lot. But listening is going to give us more solutions and more solutions oriented to help the customer and the end user, which at the end is going to be the patient in our industry. I think rolling up your sleeve, right? If you have a trade show and as a rep, you were there at 8 a.m. to set up, as a leader, you should be there at 8 a.m. as well.
Yeah.
You should roll your sleeve. You should be and leading by example. You should show them and pave the way for your people that you're leading, that you are a leader that leads by example. I think not feeling that you're the smartest person in the room, that's something sometimes important as a leader. You hire people, and I think it was maybe it was Bill Gates hiring people that are more important than him, or more smart than him, and that's what we need, right? We need people that are smarter than us to help us as a leader grow and keep learning from others that we're hiring. And I mean, knowing your solution is going to be important. If you're a leader and you continue to grow in different organizations, probably you're going to be handling a lot of business units. It's not that scientifically you're going to be like versed in every technology, but you have to be dangerous. You have to know enough to talk to a customer. And if you don't, you have to prep yourself for that engagement.
Yeah. No, I love that suggestion. I love how you started with, starting with listening, right? And I think what you articulated is, to not already think you know the answer and come into that listening in neutral, and be willing to accept and not come in with preconceived judgments, but listen openly. Finding people smarter than you and appreciating that, allowing them to do what they do, but still being a student of the game and having enough knowledge to continue to, be respected in the space. I think those are some really good attributes that, really hit the nail on the head on being successful. Now, I'm sure you've always done things absolutely perfectly, never made it. But if I had to think of something, kidding, what are a couple lessons that you might have learned the hard way that you could teach some others?
Well, I think going back to the previous question, I would say not listening. I I think when you start your career as a young professional, you feel you're gonna eat the world, you know everything, and you don't listen, and that's where you make mistakes. And I learned the hard way that listening is gonna be an important attribute for everyone in every position that you held, in every conversation that you're having. Uh, Another hard lesson is say no. Not every good deal is a good deal, and sometimes saying no is as important as saying yes. And sometimes we don't think about that, but sometimes we say no, and it converts into a yes, maybe a year from now, because they value that your product, your solution was better than
Yeah.
the cheaper or most cost-effective option. I learned that the hard way, right? We always wanted to say yes to everything. Yes, let's make this deal. Yes, let's do this deal. But sometimes it's important to say no. Uh, Another lesson, if I can highlight a few more,
Yeah,
uh,
for sure. Yeah.
I think innovation is important, right? But market adoption is the key. If you
Mhm.
have a lot of innovation and a lot of ideas, that's always great. But if all of those ideas you've tried to put them all together and we don't have key or market adoption, they're gonna fail. Again,
Yeah.
it's good to receive no's. It's gonna happen. The more we ask, the more yes we're gonna have. But at the end, market adoption is gonna be important. And I think one last that I learned the hard way, and maybe it's a cultural thing, right? Coming from a different culture, different background, different language, completely different set of styles. I use not sugarcoating feedback when you move to the here, but I move here. In my country, I felt more comfortable, right? Giving that feedback to the people, like more direct because they knew me, knew the language. When I move, I tend to sugarcoat a little bit more. And I learned that the hard way, right?
Mhm.
And maybe, okay, no, we don't need to sugarcoat. I'm the same type of leader I was. And it happens when we are joining different organizations, different roles, right? Sometimes you feel like the imposter syndrome, or you have to be nice all the time in a way that sugarcoating the feedback. But the
Mhm.
reality is that if you're confident in your leadership skills, you don't have to sugarcoat. You can still be amicable. You can still be and empower people, but at the same time be direct in the feedback and the coaching.
No, I like that. I mean, and I love you talk about the imposter syndrome. It's something we talk about when leaders move up. Am I, how am I this? And so, and for you, it was coming into a new culture. And what I heard you say is you were sugarcoating, you're pulling back, you're pulling your punches, and you realize, wait, my authentic, true leadership style isn't coming through.
Mhm.
I need to be I need to be David. And
Right.
and when you started leading from that with that directness, but in a caring way, while listening, that proved more effective. I love that.
Yes.
That's some really good exceptions. I'm going to continue to ask some questions, but I know you guys probably going to have some questions for David or some lessons I know that we're not going to cover that you want to learn. Comment below. We're going to pull them up at the end. So, but right now, I want to find something. We have high performers on teams, and developing those high performers usually make the most impact. So, what have you found is the best way to develop those high performers to be?
I think empowering them, uh, key opportunities that they can own from inception to execution is important. Showing them the way. Key performers or high performers are a lot into challenge, clarity, the impact that they're gonna have. So show them, pave them the way. Again, I go back to lead by example, but that's gonna be important because we need to show them how exactly that success looks like. If there's someone from my previous teams in Puerto Rico listening today, they know I will used to tell them, go fly. Uh,
Mm.
you need to let them fly. And
Yeah.
with learning to fly, you sometimes in the air you fell down, right? You hit your head and you keep trying. It's not that we're gonna let them fail on purpose, but we need them to learn them to the ropes.
Yeah.
Uh, we need to keep them engaged and retained, and that doesn't mean that, like we mentioned before, we're gonna sugarcoat this stuff. We want to be direct, have them have accountability, but we also want to make them feel valuable
Mhm.
and trust them, right? If you are developing a high performer into a leadership role, sometimes you have to trust some things in that person that is going to show you, listen, in the future this person is going to be a leader that is going to we're going to be able to trust with difficult decisions or with key information that people cannot know outside the organization. And
Mhm.
that's the way you start paving the way for high performers. But bottom line, the high performers, they thrive on clarity. They thrive on the clarity and the impact and the performance.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, you can't learn to ride a bike in a seminar, right? You can't learn to fly without jumping into the air. So you got to give them that opportunity. And with realities, you're going to skin your knee on occasions, right? And support them through that, but give them that opportunity so they can learn. And through that, they're developing and showing trust, mutual trust, which creates long term engagement. I think it's yeah, it's easier. It's easier said than done because many
Oh yes.
times they're gonna approach that that flight differently than we would have, and we're gonna want to correct them early and take over. But many times, well, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. That's the hard thing to do. Now, finding those high performers and evaluating who they are. This is something very near and dear to my heart. What have you done? What's worked for you in your career? What have you seen really work?
Well, depending on the organization that you're working, sometimes if you are bigger organizations, you're going to have, maybe more people growing, more people developing, more open positions. So there was a peer that used to work with me in Boston Scientific, and we always used to say ABC, always be recruiting. And the always be recruiting is always networking, always chatting with people that you can see as the next TM, the next clinical specialist, the next regional manager, using internal recruiting, but also external recruiting when you feel comfortable that they are going to bring those high performers because of their experience in the market as well. Uh, I think when I look at the question, how do you find and evaluate new talent? Even in your teams, you can evaluate and find new talent. Sometimes you have people in your team that you see them and they're good at the job, but you see them maybe in another role as a clinical person or an operations person. And now you are finding that talent within your team and developing that person into a new role. That's still evaluating new talent, even if
Yeah,
they've been with you
totally.
for many years. So not only externally, but internally, you have to find that new talent to see where their strengths are going to be used better to perform in the organization.
Yeah. Which kind of goes back to our previous question, developing great talent, right? You know, a lot of those people is understanding their real strengths, understanding their career objectives. You're finding that talent within your organization, you're helping develop them into a path that's going to have more impact. And I find when people are having more impact, they're usually having more fun too, right?
They're
So
having
that
more fun.
I think I love that example. I love the example is always be proactive, you know, of thinking, meeting the people, being a network, whether it's in the OR or at a boardroom or wherever, is thinking, creating that relationship because you never know, when that serendipity will strike and you need it. So it's a couple great suggestions. I've got a couple more questions for David, but please comment below. I know we got some more. We're going to pull some in here at the end, but place your comments. We're going to pull those in at the end of this conversation, but a couple more for you. Now, not everyone listening here is already a leader. We have some leaders listening, but some people are aspiring to be. So what recommendation would you give to them, to be tapped, to be noticed for their first leadership opportunity?
There's a few. I think having those one-on-ones with your leader to tell them, listen, this is my expectations in the future. This is what I aspire. But I think more importantly is leading without the title, showing that already now, no matter the title that you have, you're leading people, you're coaching, You're asking for continuous feedback and taking that feedback and improving. You're mastering the cross-functional collaboration. You are problem solving. You right now are acting as a regional manager, director, VP without having that title. Now, it's as important it is of developing that skill, it's important also to understand that sometimes when you go for that first opportunity, you might receive a no. And the reaction on how you act after that no is going to be as important as if you got that role.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to be mad. Yes, you're a competitor. You lost an opportunity. Take a day, go to the lake, go do yoga, meditate, but next day bring your A game again. Keep being that leader that you were.
Mm-hmm.
Help the new hire in their leadership aspirations. Show them that you lost an opportunity, but it's not gonna knock you down. Ask for feedback, right? Ask what happened in the interview.
Yeah.
What can I do better? And take
Yeah.
that and be better. So I think, you know, you have to live by experience. You have to deliver consistently. That's important. Performance is going to be important always. I and I know you've encountered this as well. There's many people that maybe come into the organizations 2 or 3 years experience, and I want to be a VP. I want to be a director. Sometimes it took us 20 years to get here, and I'm not saying they don't have the capabilities, but they have to deliver consistently. It's not only 1 year. Keep performing, keep showing, keep leading without the title again, and then take the feedback to your heart and implement it. And also provide feedback.
Yeah. No, yeah, that aspect of showing that resilience when you got the no,
Mhm.
dusting it off, accepting it, but then coming back with excellence and getting feedback, I think is one that I've seen people miss. Right? They feel like they were passed over and they never mentally get right, and they're only hurting their career, right, and their opportunity.
And
Um,
sometimes in years they still talk about that opportunity they missed.
yeah,
And if you're saying that you're not ready, you're still not ready today.
I, I love that observation. As well as making the fundamentals, making sure leadership know that you want it, right?
Mhm.
Doing the job before you're leading without title, finding opportunities to lead within your organization you're not asked for. I mean, those are the ones that I know when I promoted and when I promote, it's the people that are already doing the leadership role, doing the things I haven't asked to do, seeing things that need to be done and jumping on it are the first people I ask,
Mhm.
right?
I agree. Same here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I've got a final question. This is my fun one for you, David. Your favorite superhero and why?
That's a good one. I like Iron Man a lot.
Got it. Yeah.
I like him because he doesn't have superpowers, but he used innovation to continue to
Mm,
deliver. He changed every year with different technologies. He has grit. He's brave, and sometimes he's a little cocky, but at the end, he risks on his leadership style. He risks his life for the sakes of the people and the other leaders. So that's why I like about him, and his gadgets and his widgets were amazing as well.
Oh yeah, and really cool to watch. But I love that. I love that attribute. He never, didn't have superheroes, but he didn't have superpowers. But he used innovation to create his power. Yeah,
Precisely.
and but that was brave enough to use it. Like putting on those rocket boots and shooting up for the first time. Is not for the faint of heart. So
It's
for
not for the
sure.
final. Agree.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, I know we've got some questions that have come through here on the comments, so I'm going to pull in some of the questions from the FloodGate family here, and we'll see what we have. It looks like a little, hello there from a friend. So here's one from Renee Chang. Question: if you weren't in MedTech, where do you think your leadership journey might have taken you? I guess you started saying you were lucky enough to get into MedTech. So if not, where would you be?
Wow, that's a good question. I can tell you, I always liked the acting and comedy part. I always wanted to be in theater. I competed in theater when I was growing up, so I think my leadership story would have taken me something in that area. I would have been staying in Puerto Rico and speaking Spanish for sure.
Yeah, on the stage, right?
On the stage.
I love it. I love it. Well, we get to be a showman of a different kind right
Yeah.
now. So here's one from Ruben. It's an interesting question. You've done pharma and device.
Yes.
So you brought a little bit of advice about the switch for someone considering the switch, and how are they different?
Ruben, hola, my friend. We started very early in our careers together in Puerto Rico working in pharma rep. So it's good to see you here. Uh, it's not an easy switch for everyone, right? If you're many years in the pharma experience with a structured way of the doctors are not seeing you at 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the OR versus in an office and a clinic when you're competing against many reps trying to get a 1 second from their attention. So I think that's a big difference that I encountered. I think what I like about the pharma background is the training aspects that we had back in the days, and I know today they're so thorough in the market, in the biologics of on the science of the product. So important. How do you capture the attention of a doctor that has only 1 minute? That paved the way into how do we scrub in the OR sink and talk for 1 minute to a doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think with it's the best of both worlds. My experience is that once I changed to the medtech device industry, for me, having a product that is gonna impact the life of the patient and seeing it real time was huge.
Yeah.
Versus, we know the drugs are gonna help the patients. We know the erectile dysfunction drug is gonna help them, or the heart drug is gonna help them, but we don't actually see that versus the med tech. And some advice, Ruben, if you're considering on switching, is continue to show the grit that you have, right? Continue to highlight your success and performance. And I know you personally from moving from Puerto Rico, a different market, to the US, to another different market, how you pave your performance and your way there, and then how you're gonna make an impact in the OR as well. And seek for mentors, right? Seek a mentor in this area that can help you, that maybe can get you inside. Maybe not an OR with everything that's going on right now, but with a doctor to show you, what the difference between a pharma and being in the OR as well.
I love that. I love it. Great suggestions. And speaking about mentors, we have Mindy Rector who asked, David, do you have any mentors or concepts that has inspired your approach to leadership?
Mindy, great question. Yes, I have mentors. Always had many mentors. I think of one, I'm going to throw his name, Gavin Phillips. He's the chief commercial officer for Egg Medical. He ones that convinced me to move to the US with Boston Scientific. We think a lot about him, sometimes not in a good way, whenever we want to go to the ocean or the mountains, and we don't have that in Texas. But it was a great move for my career. But I call him still today, and we work in different industry. And whenever I have something good that I want to shine with him, or something bad that happened that I want to hear, he's there. So I think he inspired me in a way to always listen to different people. If you're moving from an organization, that doesn't mean that you're leaving the people that you develop behind. Call them, reach out to them, a text. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, I heard you won an award. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. That's important. You are not only a name. You are someone that help people, and you can continue to help them. And sometimes it takes 1 minute, one answer, one text that we can take a few minutes during the day to share or to send to the people that we hire in the past, that we develop. Say, we're here still. Whatever you need from my end, let me know, and we're here to help you.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's good. And that mentor being, not just being mentored, but being a good mentor to others, and being proactive or reaching out. I think, even after you're no longer working day to day, it's huge. A little icing on the cake here from Sarah. What has been the most rewarding moment of your leadership career?
Well, I have a few. I'm going to say two. I think the most rewarding ones is whenever I see people that I hired that are being developed into a manager role, that are winning awards, that are continue to grow in organizations, and I see those highlights in LinkedIn or in other platforms, it's rewarding for me. Personally, as a leader, a few years ago, I worked on a initiative to try to bring more Latinos to the organization, and we partnered with a company and provided a scholarship. And we did an interview process for more than 100 people that were Latinos across the US in the mainland in order to offer that scholarship with the Medical Sales College. And after thorough interviews, we awarded 4 scholarships, and they went finish the program. And all of them are already hired in the medtech industry today and being successful. So
That's awesome.
that is for me the most rewarding moment of my career.
I love it. That's a really great concept and an approach to be able to do so. That's awesome. Definitely something, creating change that you want to have seek. So with that, we will conclude this Leadership Live. I really, really appreciate you taking the time and giving us a lot of this wisdom. I know I've gained a lot. I'm sure other people will as well. So thank you, David, for your time and for the education today.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's an honor.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care.